Have you ever felt a strong connection with a guy, yet his actual behavior leaves you completely baffled? One day he is intensely focused on you, and the next he acts entirely detached, as if you are just another casual face in the crowd. This confusing tug-of-war is incredibly common in the early stages of dating, and it usually boils down to a classic psychological script. He is deeply attracted to you, but he is desperately trying to play it cool. Whether he is guarding his heart against potential rejection, attempting to maintain an air of mystery, or simply trying not to come across as overly desperate, a man in this state will go to great lengths to hide his vulnerability behind a mask of effortless indifference. However, while he might be able to carefully control his spoken words, human psychology and biology are much harder to manipulate. When a man harbors a secret crush, his subconscious mind will inevitably bypass his conscious defense mechanisms, leaking his true feelings through a series of subtle, involuntary behaviors. These are known as microsigns, microscopic shifts in his body language, subtle changes in his daily habits, and fleeting facial expressions that last for mere fractions of a second. He thinks he is executing a flawless performance of casual friendship. But to an observant eye, these tiny clues tell a completely different story. If you want to stop guessing and finally decode the mixed signals, you have to look past his smooth exterior. By tuning into these 15 hidden behavioral tells, you can easily peer behind his carefully constructed facade and discover exactly how much he truly cares about you. 1. The brief lingering eye contact, then looking away quickly. When a guy is trying to play it cool, his eyes will almost always betray his hidden feelings. You will frequently catch him looking at you from across a crowded room, but the moment your gaze meets his, he will quickly snap his head away or pretend to look at something else entirely. This rapid deflection happens because he is terrified of making his intense attraction too obvious. However, before he frantically looks away, there is a distinct, microscopic fraction of a second where his gaze lingers, just a beat longer than normal social interactions allow. This fleeting moment of deep connection is completely involuntary, driven by a subconscious desire to take you in. He wants to watch you, but his pride and fear of rejection force him to immediately pull back and maintain his distant, cool exterior. 2. Subtle body language proximity, always ending up in your space. A man who is fighting the urge to show his feelings will still be completely governed by physical gravity. Without even realizing it, he will consistently manipulate circumstances so that he ends up standing or sitting right next to you. If you are at a social gathering, a group meeting, or a casual hangout, you will notice that no matter where you initially position yourself, he somehow gravitates toward your general orbit. He might lean his shoulder slightly in your direction, angle his torso toward you while talking to someone else, or plant his feet firmly pointing toward you. He will actively avoid making overt physical advances or invading your personal boundaries aggressively, but he keeps himself just close enough to feel your energy and be readily available if you happen to turn around and speak to him. 3. The pretending not to hear trick while secretly listening intently. To keep up his effortless and detached facade, he will often pretend to be completely absorbed in his phone, his work, or another conversation when you are speaking nearby. He might feign absolute indifference, or shrug casually as if he is barely paying attention to the room. However, this is a calculated shield to hide his hyperfixation on you. In reality, his internal radar is entirely tuned to the specific frequency of your voice. He is cataloging every single word, laugh, and expression you share with others. You can easily spot this hidden focus because he will accidentally react to things you said to someone else, or his posture will stiffen slightly whenever your conversation shifts to personal topics. He acts completely deaf to your presence, but his mind is hanging on to every single syllable. 4. Micro changes in tone and posture. Whenever you enter the room, the human nervous system finds it incredibly difficult to fake complete indifference when a strong, romantic spark is present. The exact moment you walk into an environment, his entire physiology will undergo an immediate, subconscious shift. If he was previously slouching or looking tired, he will instantly sit up straighter, square his shoulders, and pull in his stomach to appear more dominant, capable, and physically attractive. Furthermore, his vocal cords will react to your presence. His voice might suddenly drop to a noticeably deeper, warmer, and more resonant register when he addresses you, or it might crack slightly from sudden underlying tension. These subtle physical adjustments happen in a flash, serving as an involuntary biological reflex designed to impress you, even while he desperately attempts to act like your arrival is no big deal. 5. remembering the tiniest, most obscure details you ever mentioned. A guy who is trying to act casual will try to make it seem like you are just a regular friend, but his memory will inevitably give him away. Weeks or even months after a passing conversation, he will casually bring up a tiny detail you mentioned in passing, like your favorite childhood candy, a specific song you love, or a random fear you have. When he reveals this knowledge, he will try to pass it off as a total fluke or say he just has a good memory. But the truth is that he remembers because everything concerning you is highly significant to him. A man who truly does not care will let those minor details slip away completely. The fact that his brain securely archived a random, insignificant comment proves he treats your words like absolute gold while pretending it is nothing. 6. The protective instinct, subtle moves to keep you safe or comfortable. Even when a man is actively trying to hide his feelings, his primal urge to protect the woman he likes will always slip through his calm exterior. You will notice him making small, unspoken adjustments whenever you are together in public. He might smoothly switch sides with you while walking down a busy street so that he is closer to the traffic. Or he will instinctively place a hand near the small of your back to guide you through a dense, chaotic crowd. He does not make a loud, dramatic show of these actions because he wants to avoid looking overly invested, but his eyes are constantly scanning your surroundings for potential discomfort. If a room gets suddenly chilly, he might casually offer his jacket while claiming he is just too warm, hiding his deep care behind a mask of pure convenience. 7. Mirroring your actions and mannerisms subconsciously. When two people share a strong, unspoken emotional bond, their brains naturally sync up through a psychological phenomenon known as mirroring. A guy who is trying to act completely indifferent cannot control this deeply rooted behavioral reflex. If you take a sip of your drink, you will notice that he reaches for his just a few seconds later. If you cross your legs, lean back in your chair, or use specific hand gestures while speaking, he will unconsciously match your physical posture. This intense behavioral mimicking is a clear indicator that he is completely locked into your wavelength and highly focused on your presence. Even if he is acting distant with his words, his body is desperately trying to establish harmony and closeness with you, completely bypassing his conscious effort to remain detached and cool. 8. Teasing or light-hearted banter, used as a direct emotional shield. When a man is terrified of revealing how vulnerable he feels around you, he will often resort to playful teasing as a defense mechanism. Instead of giving you direct, heartfelt compliments that might expose his true feelings, he will gently poke fun at your quirks, challenge you to silly debates, or give you a sarcastic nickname. This witty, high-energy banter allows him to interact with you constantly and build a unique, flirtatious tension without ever having to cross the line into emotional vulnerability. It creates a safe, comfortable smokescreen where he can enjoy your vibrant personality, make you laugh, and keep your attention firmly fixed on him, all while maintaining the clever illusion that he just views you as a fun, casual friend to mess around with. 9. He clears his schedule for you, but makes it look completely accidental. A guy who is highly attracted to you will always make himself available, but if he is playing it cool, he will go to great lengths to ensure it looks like a total coincidence. If you casually mention that you are going to a specific coffee shop or attending a local event, he will suddenly show up there, claiming he just happened to be in the neighborhood or had an errand to run nearby. If you ask him to help you with something or hang out, he will immediately say yes, but he will frame it as though he had absolutely nothing else going on anyway. He carefully masks his eager enthusiasm by pretending his schedule just naturally aligned with yours, hiding the fact that he happily dropped his plans just to get a moment with you. 10. The slow, thoughtful reply, deliberately not texting back instantly. In the modern digital world, playing it cool heavily revolves around text messaging etiquette. When you send him a message, his initial impulse is probably to reply within seconds because he is excited to talk to you. However, to keep from appearing overly desperate or eager, he will consciously force himself to wait a while before hitting send. You might notice a consistent delay in his responses, but the actual content of his texts will completely give him away. Instead of giving you short, lazy, one-word answers, his replies will be deeply engaging, thoughtful, and full of questions to keep the conversation flowing. He is trying to manipulate the clock to look casual, but the effort and energy he pours into his actual words reveal his true devotion. 11. Fidgeting or nervous tics that only appear around you. No matter how calm and collected he tries to appear on the surface, His body's nervous system will always struggle to suppress the pure excitement of being near you. When you are close by, you will notice him exhibiting subtle, anxious habits that completely disappear when he is with other people. He might constantly adjust his watch, smooth down his shirt, run his fingers through his hair, or tap his foot restlessly against the floor. He might also play with his keys or spin his phone on the table while you speak. These micro-movements are standard, physiological expressions of pent-up energy and adrenaline. He is trying his absolute best to project a smooth, unbothered vibe, but these involuntary, nervous tics prove that your presence makes his heart race and completely shatters his internal composure. 12. He shows off his achievements subtly without directly bragging. A man who is deeply attracted to you instinctively wants you to view him as a capable, successful, and high-value partner, but playing it cool means he cannot directly boast. Instead, he will find incredibly clever, roundabout ways to bring up his accomplishments, talents, or exciting future plans during casual conversation. He might casually mention a stressful project he just crushed at work while framing it as a complaint about being tired. Or he might leave an impressive book or item out where you can easily see it. He wants to elevate your opinion of him and spark your genuine admiration, but he desires to do it so smoothly that you think the topic came up naturally. It is a calculated dance of dropping subtle hints to impress you while avoiding looking desperate. 13. Seeking your validation or opinion on his life choices first. When a guy values your perspective above everyone else's, it is a massive indicator of hidden emotional investment. Even if he acts like an independent, detached lone wolf to the rest of the world, he will quietly seek your specific input on things that matter to him. He might casually ask what you think about a new outfit he bought, a career move he is considering, or even a song he likes. Pay close attention to how he reacts to your feedback. If you express approval, his entire demeanor will instantly brighten, and he will likely stick with that choice. By placing your opinion on a pedestal, he is showing that your validation directly impacts his self-esteem, revealing how deeply he cares about being aligned with your personal tastes. 14. The protective side glance. Checking your reaction in a group dynamic. When you are both hanging out in a larger group of people, his true focus will inevitably be anchored directly to you. Whenever someone tells a funny joke, shares a wild story, or a dramatic moment happens in the room, his very first instinct will be to glance over at you to check your reaction. He wants to see if you are laughing at the same things, if you look uncomfortable, or if you share his silent perspective on the situation. This involuntary side glance is a powerful psychological urge to find a shared connection in a crowded space. Even if he spends the whole night talking to other people to look casual, this constant visual check-in proves that your experience is the only one he truly cares about tracking. 15. Dilated pupils and genuine, unfiltered smiles. When he's caught off guard, the ultimate giveaway that a guy is hiding strong feelings is the pure biological reaction that happens when he cannot prepare his defense mechanism. If you surprise him by walking around a corner unexpectedly or calling his name out of nowhere, you will catch a glimpse of his raw, unfiltered emotion before his cool mask can slide back into place. For a split second, a massive, genuine smile will light up his entire face, and his eyes will crinkle at the corners with pure joy. If you look closely at his eyes, you will also notice his pupils expand significantly, which is a scientifically proven involuntary response to looking at someone you deeply desire. He can fake his words, but he cannot stop his biology from celebrating your presence.